Thank you, Dr. Kavita. So I would like to share my screen. At the outset, I would like to thank the AOS, Dr. Partha Bishwas and Dr. Kavita for inviting me for this wonderful session on tips and tricks in pediatric glaucoma valve surgery. Now, we have a whole set of indications for doing the valve surgery, which is almost similar to trap and trap, which Dr. Saiban has nicely told. So these are the common indications where we have congenital primary glaucomas, the post-PK glaucomas, Sturge-Weber's, the eye syndromes, the secondary glaucomas due to steroids, as well as these many set of surgeries are advised, but the common one being done is the trabeculectomy and trabeculotomy, and then valve surgery, which I'm going to discuss. And there are other set of surgeries which are being done, but are less commonly done. There are few steps of valve surgery, which I would like to demonstrate on this video. So here I'm doing a fornix-based incision, about 3 to 4 clock hours. And it's a thick, you can see the conjunctiva is slightly ballooned and the thick tenons is there because of the uveitic glaucoma refractive to medical therapy. And now we are dissecting the tenons. Here we should be very careful that tenons will be thick in children, and we have to dissect completely from the superior rectus to the lateral rectus. The site being selected is usually superior temporal quadrant initially, where the space is quite wide and easily accessible. Then each part of the tenons is dissected properly so that the valve goes inside and properly fits in. Selection of valve depends on, usually we do Ahmed glaucoma valve, although RD and Barvelt have also been tried. Minimal cautery is done to just block those blood vessels. And then important thing is to priming of the valve through a 26 gauge cannula and see that the water jet comes out through the plate. It's a very important step. If you don't do this, then the surgery is going to fail. Then proper insertion of the valve plate is very important. See, it is slightly, I'm struggling to go inside. What you have to do is, you just have to, sometimes you have to take it out and then see if there are any adhesions or anything which is blocking that valve. So we have to again reinsert and see that it goes smoothly and fits far behind. Usually take a 7 to 8 millimeters from the limbus. So that is the landmark where the plate should be, the posterior anterior end of the plate should be. So about 8 millimeters has to be there for the tube to be placed. Then pass anchoring sutures through the eyelets with a non-absorbable suture. It could be 80 or 90 Prolene sutures, so that the valve plate is fixed in one position. So one side it is being passed, and similarly it is being passed to the other eyelet also, so that the plate is firmly anchored. So it is being passed through the other eyelet. The suture material is non-absorbable usually, and it could be a 70 to 90 vicryl or silk sutures. Now, second part is that we have to mark the distance from limbus to the posterior plate of the valve. Then taking care of the tube. Now we have to hold the tube in position to the sclera. So we pass a stray suture. It could be an infinity shaped or 8 shaped, where the tube should stay in on the sclera without movement, and it's gently tied here so that the tube movement sideways is avoided. Now the next part, so it should be in line with the valve. Next part is that the marking. So usually I mark from 8 mm from the limbus, and also mark the area where I have to cut the tube. So it should be at least 2 to 3 millimeters tube area that should go into the anterior chamber. In children, I preferably leave small amount of extra tube because of the growth of the eyeball. It will always slightly recede. So you mark with a junction violet or whatever marker what you have, so that we know precisely where to cut. So I usually cut about a millimeter ahead of the mark, so that we have some extra tube left, because we can always trim it further. If you cut it short, then it's difficult to again add it. So cut about a millimeter or so longer, so that we can always tighten it later on. So after cutting the tube about 3 millimeters, then you can mark that tube length, and then use a 23 gauge needle, and you should go in 1 or 2 swipes itself, and don't make a sideways movement, because enlarging this entry point will always lead to a fluid escape afterwards and cause hypotony. So just go inside in 1 or 2 sweeps and then take it out, and then use the forceps meant for the tube. Then finally, before that, we just have to trim and make the final adjustment of the length. It should be bevel up at around 30 degrees, and gently hold with the tube holding forceps and push it into the anterior chamber. see that the tube goes straight in the iris plane, not hitting the cornea nor going down into the iris plane. But it is preferable in children to make the valve tube go slightly downwards, because it easily comes up when a child grows and touches the cornea. Now, after passing this one, you see that the alignment is good. Now we have to close the exposed tube with scleral patch graft available in the eye bank. We can use many types of patches here. So which was available easily was the scleral patch graft sutured with the silk sutures. Now, after thorough washing and looking at the alignment and the tube position, you finally close the conjunctiva with the wing sutures. First close with the 10-0 80 Vicryl sutures, observable sutures, both ends tightly put. And sometimes we may have to use additional sutures also to see that the suturing is quite watertight also. Then remove these
sorry to interrupt, but the time is over for the video. I would request you to please
just 5 seconds.
The discussion.
Then the last one is the priming of the tube was very important here, as I told you. So we have to see that the priming is done. Another way of doing a scleral patch is by the autologous scleral patch we can fashion from the patient's eye itself and lift it, and then the rest of the surgery proceeds as per the previous surgery. And see that I visualize the L tip of the valve and close the scleral flap, and proper closure of the conjunctiva is very important here. And the rest of the things Dr. Saibon has nicely told, they will be the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sailesh. I call Dr. Ganesh and Dr. Ankur for their expert inputs.
Dr. Sailesh, what was the age of this patient? You said it's a uveitic glaucoma.
Yeah, it is around 3 years.
3 years, okay. Fine.
3.5 maybe here.
You can even use a smaller FP8 model.
Exactly. FP8 is usually preferred. But nowadays, above 2 years or so, the people use, or we tend to use the same size glaucoma because of the nature of the patient's age. It keeps on growing, and that is the reason. And of course, I would like to share your experience about you. People do a lot of RD also.
We are doing more RD, and of course, we do also AGV, but not to the extent of doing RD. We sort of, for both the RD as well as AGV, I do try to find out the muscle planes, and it just gives you a good practice. So whether I do AGV or RD, I try to hook the muscles, see that's isolated. And personally, I do more of a limbus-based flap for all my implants. I don't do a Phonics-based. I stopped doing almost 7-8 years back. I stopped. So limbus-based gives me very good access to the muscle planes.
Yeah,
and I start inserting the tube almost 8 millimeters behind the limbus. So what happens? All the structures are just in front of me to operate, suture, tie, and 4 millimeters short of the thing. Short of the limbus, I just introduce the.
One small thing about I routinely do trab and trab with this limbal based only, but in this valve based surgeries, about 8 mm behind, if you make an incision and all, the valve edge that is the constant tension with the wound side. That is one small thing.
One advantage of that is you can place it even few millimeters behind. So you are 8 millimeters away, 9 millimeters, but I place the valve almost 12 millimeters away. So the flow is really posterior. The RD has a longer tube than the Ahmed valve.
Ahmed valve, yeah. So you should be really a good squint surgeon to expose all the muscles, hook the muscles, and then put the proper place. And that is because I have seen the tenons acts like a spring; it keeps pushing. So proper dissection of the lateral and the superrectus and proper position is very important.
Correct.
I think there's a slight difference here, Ganesh. Like RD is more flatter as compared to AGV.
To the profile of AGV, correct.
Yes. So when you do posterior sutures, I mean the limbal-based flaps, you may not be rubbing against the plate so hard as you will place it by rubbing against the AGV.
AGV, correct.
Also, RD needs a more exposure as compared to AGV because I've done both of them. Not many in children, but more in adults. So, AGV doesn't require that much of dissection. So maybe AGV from the limbal incision is a better option, and RD from a limbal-based flap or a Phonics incision is a better option. My thought process.
Yeah, definitely. But with practice, I've been able to do that. I just wanted to know, do you place the tube always in the anterior chamber, or do you try to place in the sulcus also?
Yeah, sulcus can also be tried. See, the different schools of thought, like people do a small iris hole and pass through the iris hole in the sulcus and pass it in front, or they place behind, especially in pseudophakics, and you can go behind the, like about 4 millimeter, make an entry instead of at the limbus. We can do that, but by far I'm getting away with in the anterior chamber entry.
Just for the delegates who are listening, there's a new publication in AJO in which they give mitomycin C 1 week and AGV. So you should look into that. Thank you very much.
And
Thank you, the
I'm into-
panelists and the
Yeah.
speakers, for giving your valuable time. I request Punish, can you have a photograph of the session with the speakers
Yes,
and the
doctor.
panelists?
Yes, doctor. I would request everyone to turn up the cameras.
I would just add up that, it's better to go behind the iris, or maybe using the PI to go behind the iris, at least in the pseudophakic patients, because with the movement of the eye, the tube does touch the cornea in a lot of patients.
That's when pediatric always go in downwards towards the iris,
Yes,
or
yes.
make it open, especially in children.
Especially in children.